Now we're going to go on to another type of blower that's real popular. It's called a centrifugal supercharger. All right, this is one right over here. This is an ATI Pro charger. It's what they call a D2 model, which is one of their largest models that they make. Of course, this is a 500 plus cubic inch motor, so it needs to be a big blower to be able to fill 500 plus cubic inches worth of air with blower. Obviously, if we had a little teeny blower on there, we'd have to spin the impeller speed up so fast it would never make enough boost to do anything to this motor. So we got the Roots design motors here. We're going to look at the centrifugal here. These basically work very similar to a turbo. Basically, it is a turbo. It's just belt driven. And what you do get with this is more instant boost than a turbo. Turbos, you've probably heard the term turbo lag, stuff like that. And turbos are driven off of exhaust, where being that this is belt driven, it's always in time with the crank. Where on a turbo, you give it the throttle, and you have to wait for the engine speed to come up, for the exhaust velocities coming out of the motor to spin a turbine, which also spins the inlet turbine on this, and it sucks in air from the backside here, forces it around. It's a big, basically a fan impeller inside here, brings it on up, and we have a carburetor right here. What it does is it forces air and right on through the carburetor, and the carburetor meters the fuel and puts it inside the motor. This is what they call a blow-through design. And there's a couple different types of these. We'll see one a little bit later also, very similar to this. But blow-through designs, these actually go back quite a ways. The old Studebagers came with these on them. Some of the early 66 Shelbys, some of those had a Paxton supercharger. Paxton was a pretty well-known one way back when. Of course, we got really good ones now by Vortec and ATI and many other brands now. They're all very similar design though. They're all basically a turbo impeller that draws air in, compresses it inside the housing right here, forces it out of this discharge nozzle right here, discharge tube, right on into this air bonnet here, and blows it right through the carburetor. These are very tame on the street. And let me explain. We talked about boost before and stuff, but when does boost come in? And what this does is, when you're driving around town, these are on very low boost. You're only like you're idling at anywhere from 0 to 1 psi a boost. They really don't make, in fact, even Roots blowers, you're really not idling at any boost. When you give it throttle on these though, they don't come into boost until the RPM comes up. So if you watch your boost gauge and your tachometer, as it comes up, they both kind of follow up together. So if this makes, say, 15 pounds of boost, you watch your tachometer come up, and as it gets up to 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, the boost is coming up with it until it gets to a certain boost range. Roots blowers, as soon as you crack the throttle open, they're into full boost because they're what they call a positive displacement blower. They always make the same displacement no matter what. So when you crack the throttle wide open on a Roots blower, even right off of an idle, it goes into full boost right now. That's good for some things, but not good for others. And let me kind of explain that. You're at the racetrack, you got street tires on, and you got a small little supercharger like this little guy, and it makes 5 pounds of boost, say. As soon as you come off the line and you nail the throttle, you're into full boost. Well, it's easy to spin the tires. You might not want that. A centrifugal supercharger, though, at low RPMs is not going to put out very much boost. Boost isn't going to start coming in until you're off the line and down the road and the revs start picking up. Then the boost